Hello, ghosts, ghouls, and blobs. Beware of the blob.
And also with you.
Thank you very much. Welcome to Blobfest 2021, House of Harris edition. Second year in a row, unfortunately, that it is online, but we're going to make this a good one.
It's not totally unfortunate because people are joining us from all over the world.
This is true. So benvenidos. But you do wish everybody was running out of the Colonial tonight.
Well, like a hybrid would be perfect, right? So people
Ideal.
who couldn't physically be there could run in spirit, but those of us who could sprint with the rest of them.
Yes. So welcome to the first of two nights of consider us your tailgate party to lead up to the weekend's festivities. We are the hosts of Why the Podcast, that we have been fans of Blobfest for a while. The gist of our show is we talk to people with interesting jobs or hobbies. That has included folks like NASA astronauts to somebody who designed some of the world's best haunted houses.
Everything in between. Cosplayers, the gentleman with the largest collection of Indiana Jones memorabilia.
And actors and actresses from some of your favorite horror films.
Like his Suze Linier-Bramlett.
Thank you for saying that.
You're welcome. From the original Hills Have Eyes, who is phenomenal interview.
Yeah.
Cosplayers. We said cosplayer.
And someone with one of the world's largest collections of celebrity hair. So we've really got it all. And like we said, we over the years have talked with someone from Blobfest to help spread the word and help celebrate. And this year we hassled him enough that he let us join in on the fun. So I guess
are you hiding his name to protect the guilty?
I was going to lead into the fact that we call this Blobfest.
Oh, yeah. You do that.
Blobfest 2021.
Sorry, I didn't mean to ruin that.
No, it's okay. It's fine. He'll get over it. So Bob Trait, thank you so much for letting us into the party. We hope to be there in person next year.
Yes.
So at this point, you're probably wondering, I kind of know why you guys are there, but what are you doing for us? And that's I think, a valid question.
It is. That's asked of us quite often.
Oh, very much. And then we're asked to leave the store. So tonight we were going to have a couple conversations with folks associated with the Colonial, with Blobfest, who are able to help you get ready to celebrate. And then tomorrow night, we're going to have some interviews with folks connected with the horror genre. That's just going to be a lot of fun. So tonight we have a whole raft of people. We're going to be speaking with Matt McGinnis, who is a writer on Mystery Science Theater 3000, but really owes it all. I think we got him to say that to the Colonial and to Blobfest, where he won one of his short films was what really got him on that road. We spoke with Miss Blobfest 2020, which is always good. And we'll see if she relinquishes her crown on Friday.
Yes, she gave us some inside scoop on what it takes to be Miss Blobfest.
And it's a high bar to jump over.
So and her fashion game was outstanding.
Definitely. So whomever takes the crown Friday, good luck.
Yeah.
And then we spoke with the host of Shocktail Hour, which is going to be happening late Friday night, the one and only Aurora Borealis.
Yes.
And it was
also amazing fashion game.
Yes, very true. I'm sensing a theme with tonight's guests.
True.
And then finally, we have the one and only Dash Daring himself, Mr. Chuck Francisco.
And he talks about some things he doesn't necessarily tell everybody else.
Exactly. And so it's going to be great because we get a little blob history, which is wonderful. We go a little bit over some of the information about Harris, who this year is the festival is being sort of devoted to, and they're screening a bunch of the other films that he produced. But now let's get this party going. Even though we don't have Party Werewolf, we need to get the party started.
I know. Well, maybe we'll get Party Werewolf at some point. Maybe he'll have a cameo at some point.
Ooh, that'd be great. We're going to kick off with, in high fashion, let's say, in high style, with Miss Blobfest 2020. So Here she is, Miss Blobfest 2020, Melissa Tapley.
Why didn't you sing it?
I think you know why.
Oh, no.
You've been Miss Blobfest for almost a year now.
Yes.
Do you get tired of when you walk into a room, people saying, there she is?
It's usually there she ooze.
Oh.
Much better.
Right. No, I don't. It surprises me when that happens, and I think I get a little pink in the face and get really excited that someone would recognize me. So,
So like all great beauty queens, your fashion game is outstanding.
oh, thank you.
This what looks like a dress from here, but I can't see. It is so fantastic. So do tell who you're wearing and what your inspiration is.
Well, I love monsters and I love Halloween and horror movies. So usually it's all inspired by that. And this is a really comfy dress. It's like a nice short summery dress. It's covered in ghosts and it's from Sourpuss Clothing. I love their stuff. So several of my dresses, the dress that I wore last year when I won, it's striped and it has x-ray specs on it. That was also from Sourpuss. So yeah, I like their clothes.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, have you competed in previous years, or was last year your first entry?
Last year was my second entry. My first entry, so let's see, so I'm 2020. So I competed in 2019 on stage during the run out that year. So, and I was the runner up. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So how did you learn something about the competition that first time going, okay, I need to up my talent game? Or
well, actually I feel like, so I wrote a poem as my talent, and I was so excited because it was like a little limerick. And I do these poetry challenges with one of my friends, my coworker David. So we do this every day. We've been doing this since the pandemic. So today is our 94th day. And so one of the things I did was I wrote a limerick that year. And it was, there once was a blob from a crater who was really a hungry invader. It attacked the teen crowd, causing them to run out, and we still celebrate 60 years later.
wow.
So it was the 60th anniversary of the film then. So yeah, I had to like do some kind of poem for it.
Kiss up to the judges with the literature.
Right.
It's the way to their heart is through the literature.
Well, I work in the library in the same town as the Colonial, so I had to go with my literary roots.
Yeah, I guess it'd be disappointing if you showed up with, I don't know.
A baton.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you have an inkling at any point in the competition that you knew this was your year?
I was hopeful. I think one of the things that I learned that first year of competing is that it was like a big family. And I just thought I really wanted to be part of that family. And everybody was so welcoming. Even when the two of us that competed that year, it was Suzanne and I. And I just felt like there was like kind of this instant sort of camaraderie between everybody. So I just thought that's something I really wanted to be part of. So I had people saying, oh, I hope you'll come back and compete next year. And I'm like, I'm already thinking about what I want to wear next year. So yes, I definitely want to compete again. So, and at some point, I was invited shortly after that to volunteer at the theater on the Fright Night and the Cult Film Committee. So that was, I felt like if that was like the consolation prize, it was pretty stinking cool. So yeah, I have greatly enjoyed all the time I've spent there. Even before that, like when I discovered Blobfest, I was just so excited about it. We had just missed it when we moved here. We moved here from Rhode Island, and we had just missed it. I had started looking up like what's some cool stuff to do in the area, and when I saw the pictures from Blobfest, I just thought, oh my God, this just looks like an amazing time. So so we started going to the theater more and more, and so I feel like I've kind of come full circle where I've been that person in the audience and that new person in town, and then now I get to be part of the show. Is just, it's like a dream. It really is.
What do some of your duties as Miss Blobfest consist of? Do you run out of supermarkets screaming when they open? Are you screaming in parades? What are you doing?
Oh man, I would love to be invited to do that. I think the closest I've ever come to that was when I was in a mall in Massachusetts. I was at the Emerald Square Mall one day, and
sure.
they had a Disney store there at the time, and I was the first person in the store, like in the mall, waiting to go in to the Disney store. And I guess they pick a kid every morning, and they put like Mickey's sorcerer hat on them, and they give you a wand, and you open the store. So yeah, I got to do that day because there were no kids around.
Awesome.
So yeah, that would be the closest I think I came to that. But I think I've been really like, I think Miss Blobfest in the past has been able to participate in parades, um, and because last year when I won, it was, everything was just virtual. Everything's, dealing with the pandemic. Um, everything was virtual, so we had to think of different things we could do, and I feel like I've been really lucky because a lot of the things I've been able to do are virtual shows and programming. Um, we did a bunch of introductions to movies. So one of my favorites was I was able to be Jan in the Pan. If you're familiar with with that film, we had like this aluminum pan that we got, and my head was all wrapped in bandages, and I introduced The Brain That Wouldn't Die, and we watched that as kind of like a watch party for the Colonial. So it's like I've been able to do things like that, and I dressed as Miss Blobfest at the library. So when everything was curbside, I delivered books for like a week as Miss Blobfest with my crown on. And yeah, we did some virtual shows. We did the Nightmare on Bridge Street, and we did really fun Christmas special for the holidays, all from the Berry Theater, and they were just a riot to film. So I feel like I've been really fortunate because even though, we didn't have the Blobfest festivities that I could participate in as Miss Blobfest in the traditional way, I've had a lot of really cool things and opportunities that I've been able to participate in. So it's been great.
What's on deck for this year's event?
So this year's event is July 9th, 10th, and 11th. And there are a slew of really cool movies. We've been filming the last 2 weeks. We did the Miss Blobfest segment recently, which was just a riot. It was so much fun to do. It's called The House of Harris. And so we have all these movies lined up through that producer. One of my favorites actually that we're going to watch is Equinox, which is one that I grew up watching with my brother. I have an older brother, so we watched a lot of things. I watched a lot of things that I probably shouldn't have as a little kid.
Yeah, sounds about right.
We all.
So, yeah. So Equinox is one of those movies we would rent pretty often and watch. So the fact that, I'm now involved in this show and we're like highlighting, this is one of the films we're highlighting, just it's another one of those kind of like mind-blowing moments to me. But so showing several movies in conjunction with the Blob. there are going to be little contests that people can participate in. You can send in a screaming contest, tinfoil hat contest, which a lot of these things happen normally in person, but people can actually film themselves like running out of their houses. There's a tattoo contest, and the shorties is actually something that my kids have participated in the past, where you film like a 5-minute movie and you send it in. So and there are different categories for that. There's a lot of ways people can participate, which is really cool, because I've had friends all over the country and even some friends in Canada participate last year and watch. So there's just a lot of ways to get involved and check out the show. So it's pretty fun.
Do you know who Miss Blobfest 2021 is then, if you filmed that segment?
Yes.
Oh,
Let's
how
put
does
it.
one keep a secret like that?
So let's maybe put it this way.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, your reign is coming to an end very soon,
Mhm.
and you will be passing the crown to the next Miss Blobfest. What advice do you have for that person, whomever they may be?
I would say to just enjoy every second of it, because I feel like I have been able to so far. And to really like, don't take it too seriously. I feel like because everybody, like, don't get too nervous about it, because everybody is so fun and warm and welcoming, and I just think it has been like one of the most fun things I've been able to be involved in, as far as like being theatrical and being part of, like, passionate about movies and stories. And uh you really are around people who share that same interest. So I would say to Miss Blobfest Universe 2021 to just really enjoy it and have the most fun with it, because it's really an awesome group of people.
So there you have it, Miss Blobfest 2020. It will be very exciting in 2 nights' time to find out who takes the crown. I mean, it's a non-hostile takeover.
I don't know. If I was there, I might try to hostily take it over.
Yeah, that's why you're not there, I think, is the answer to that.
No, that's probably true.
Yes. So we are back bringing all the flowers to your attic. While we continue this, we up next have Matt McGinnis, who owes it all to Blobfest, which is saying something.
It is. Are we going to have to say we owe it all to Blobfest someday?
At some point, but we have to win something first. Can you explain how life-changing your winning the Blobfest short film contest was for you?
Well, it's interesting because I think that's what helped me get the gig with Blobfest, so to speak. I won in 2007. It was the year they actually first announced the contest. And I was 16 and I talked to all my friends into being in this silly movie. And we won the first under 18 award that year. And Shane Stone, who was on the Blob committee and really has been from the beginning, was kind of like always in my corner ever since. He's been like a huge like supporter and cheerleader for me. And I'm always like, I'll always be, grateful to him for that. And he's been like trying to get me involved with Blobfest in some way ever since then. And it was just hard to do when you're a high school student trying to find the time to like, volunteer for something like that. So it was really, I think it was 2 years ago. I think it was 2019, I believe. Shane reached back out to me and was like, hey man, we would love to have you like officially join the committee and like be a part of making the show happen. And there was some kind of inner conflict that came with that, because I was already working on Mystery Science Theater 3000, and we have a very different approach to those movies than we do with the movies of Blobfest. So it was kind of like, can I do that? Is that a conflict of interest? Like, is it okay for me to do this? So it worked out, thankfully. But yeah, I like to think that doing my first short back in 2007 kind of got me on their radar, and it's like, hey, this kid knows his stuff. He knows his bad movies.
So I feel like it's incumbent on us as hosts to ask what was the plot of this film, even if you don't
I-
want to tell us. I feel
No,
like we have to ask.
I don't know if it's
Right.
something
I still have to ask.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's something I can explain because it's not something I really thought about. We made a trailer for a movie that never existed called Stalk of the Blob Man. And calling it a trailer is generous because I don't know any other trailers that are 5 minutes long.
Ooh.
This was back when the shorties could be 5 minutes, but
Right.
now that the Friday night show is so sprawling, they're down to 3. Essentially, high school kid comes into contact with this gelatinous thing from space. He thinks it's a dessert. He saves it for later. It comes to life. It takes over his body. He starts to terrorize the town. Meanwhile, the aliens who generated this thing are having a war in space and are meeting on Earth to try and reclaim it. It's actually on YouTube. You can go and watch it. I think I might have even just made that all up on the spot. I don't remember. But it is on there, and you can see my my decision to have long hair when I was 16 years old and other poor decisions. So, yeah.
Well, we both have mullets in our past, so we get it.
Mine is a Euro
Yeah.
mullet though, so
Yeah, that's true.
it's up-
Yeah,
up
mine
a
was
notch.
like a Beatles haircut that just kept going. Like it looked fine like a year like at 15, and then like it was just like, I'm never cutting this again. That's when it went wrong.
Yeah, no, the kind of mutant Ringos, it'll get everybody at the end.
No,
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah.
So you've been in attendance at subsequent Blobfests?
Yeah.
assuming-
My first one I went to was in 2005. I was 14 at the time. And to put this into perspective, I'm 30 now. So I have only missed one Blobfest since 2005. It's like the thing I look forward to the most every summer. And I remember I had never seen the Blob before Blobfest. I'd heard of it. And I think we found out about it through like AAA magazine or something like that. And
Where all the
mom
teens are
knew-
finding places to hang
Exactly.
out.
Yeah, you know how it
The
is.
hottest mag for tea.
Yeah, Tiger Beat, Teen Vogue, AAA, that kind of stuff. AARP.
Triptych and
Mhm.
Yeah,
yes. Yeah.
yeah. So we heard about this weird little festival. My mom knew that I had like a soft spot for these weird kind of movies, so we were like, oh yeah, we have to go. And I think the double feature that year was The Blob and a movie called The Ghost and the Invisible Bikini. We
Sounds
only
amazing.
Yeah.
It sounds amazing. It's
Ah.
not. We only stayed for about the first 20 minutes of that movie before we were like, this is weird. But it was weird enough for us to be like, we should totally come back. Because seeing The Blob in the theater where they filmed parts of The Blob is incredible. And I don't think I realized that was the case until I was sitting there watching the movie. And then it all clicked. I was like, oh, this is why there's a Blobfest. This is awesome. Like, you don't get to see movies where they make movies, because most movies are just made on a set somewhere. But this one was all locations and real places outside of Philly. So this was like a little bit of like hometown pride mixed in with it too. And it all made sense to me right then and there.
So beyond that and beyond winning, what is it about it that compelled you to come back every single year?
Oh man, there's so many factors. I mean, the kitsch factor is one thing. I mean, you just gotta love those low budget, cheesy sci-fi movies from that era. They're just so fun. The Blob is special because it's not a bad movie. The Blob, I think, is a really well done movie. I feel like the director hired a great crew that knew their stuff, and they made a creature that was like unlike anything else. Like the blob isn't anything. It's not humanoid. It's not animal. It's just a blob. So there's so much originality behind that. And, you know, when you're the 90s equivalent of a monster kid, when that terminology and even that kind of like fandom wasn't really like a celebrated thing when I was growing up, it was cool to just be in a place where like everybody was there for the same thing.
Changed your perspective? Has it changed your perspective other than death remembering you?
And me remembering him.
Yes.
You know what? It hasn't really changed it too much. If anything, I have such an appreciation, like a growing appreciation for it, because now that I know what goes into it and what it means to make Blobfest, it's just so cool. And like I take pride knowing that I get to be on that team, and it's volunteer work, you know. It's something that I do out of love, you know, just for the festival itself and how special it is. And that's all I just take the satisfaction in knowing people love this, people come to it every year and they enjoy it. It's something you could bring your whole family to. And it's just a great way to like come together and celebrate stuff that doesn't get celebrated enough, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it dovetails so nicely into your day job right now.
And it does. Yeah.
You are, I think we can say, celebrating film.
Yeah.
Is that being generous, or is that?
No, I think that's accurate.
That's
I mean,
fair.
yeah. I mean, here's the thing with the movies that are on MST is like, you know, we have to watch those movies several times. You essentially have to live with the film for a while, because not only do I write on them, but I also produce, and that means overseeing post-production as well, making sure everything is going correctly. So these movies, you kind of know them inside and out for a while, and you better find something to like about that movie if you're going to live with it for as long as we have to live with it. So there is a sort of optimism that comes with Mystery Science Theater. I feel like it's kind of like the whole thing is about making the most out of a crummy situation. And that's true in real life too. Like sometimes I feel like I'm the test subject because I can't tell you how many times I've watched Mac and Me, but it's more times than I would want to tell you about.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because for me,
like we've all watched that film. I've watched that film an awful lot too.
Though for me, for the last season, The Day Time Ended, I believe, was the one that I was just
man.
I'm having trouble with one viewing, let alone multiple.
That was one where anytime we had to watch it in post, I knew I wasn't going to have that great of a day, because I was just kind of like, I still don't know what's happening. I've watched this movie 10 times and I don't know the plot. It's frustrating. It's a puzzle with like every other piece missing.
Right. But at least you can appreciate the architecture in that, which you got to give them that.
Oh, yeah. They definitely, I mean, look, I love stop motion monsters, and they delivered on that front. So I can't complain about that.
So I know the lawyers are going to come in a second if you give away too much, but you guys are doing a new season. It's fully funded and then some. Is it 12, 13 episodes you're doing?
13 episodes, which we did not, really. Yeah. I mean, we did not see that coming. I mean, we always saw like, it'd be nice to, do better than the last Kickstarter, but how likely is that? And when the backers really came through for us, I mean, we hit our 12 episode goal the morning the Kickstarter, like it wasn't even like at the end of the Kickstarter, it was the morning of the last day. So the fan base is just so, incredible, and they're so hungry for more. And I am too, just like as a fan. No, I love knowing that there's going to be more. And as an employee, hey, it's great for me too, and my bank account.
You can't, you can't knock job security.
No.
Oh yeah, no, I'm so again, so grateful to every single person. Sorry. So like grateful to every person who donated, because it's just like, we're all in this like for the same thing. We just want to keep making people happy with the show, and we want people to love it. So happy to keep doing that.